Just a few boneheaded, walking, talking Neanderthals.
Because if Thomas joined, he'd join the podcast too. So that
Yeah. I guess we should just like kick Deer out of the Neanderthals. He's only here because Caleb was here and Caleb left.
Oh, Caleb officially left the chat?
Yeah. Oh, he was gone from the chat like as soon as I knew y'all weren't friends anymore. This podcast is going, by the way. So Gavin, you want to tell us what happened?
Yeah, fucking dipshit's a dipshit. I don't know what else to say. He's got issues,
well, like,
man.
Give me like your side of the story, you know?
All right, fuck it. He's not my friend anymore. What do I gotta be?
You can still be cordial with each other, though.
No, it's beyond that.
Oh wow, okay.
Well, he's not cordial with me, so I'm not gonna reciprocate.
He's not cordial with you?
Oh no, he refuses to even look at me now. So.
What? What did you do to piss him off so much?
Nothing. I didn't do anything. He's a fucking idiot. What it is. I think he's more upset than he thought he'd be that I just decided to cut him out.
Okay, so give us your side of the story.
Okay, well,
which is likely the only side we'll be getting, but
well, it's bad, dude. He like yesterday. Before I give you the backstory, yesterday or 2 days ago or whatever, I was doing my laundry, and I left something in my room, so I went back upstairs to like grab the thing out of my room, and then I closed my door as I was about to walk back downstairs. I think he thought that I just walked back into my room, because as I'm walking down the stairs, I heard the door open. But then I think he realized I was walking down the stairs and closed his door again. And then I came up with my laundry and closed the door behind me, and then I heard the door open. Now, I could be misreading that situation, but I don't think I am. Well, that seems pretty obvious.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I just I'm gonna try to avoid it. But okay, so from my story, at least my perspective.
This is Gavin's perspective.
So when Caleb first moved in with, like, when we first moved in together, it was like a little off, but it wasn't something of concern, you know. Like, he spent a lot of time alone in his room. Mm-hmm. He didn't really want to go out or do anything, which is fine. Not everybody wants to do that kind of shit. But he was still like, you know, we're friends, chilling, having a good time, no big deal. And he was going to school and stuff, and I was going to work. It was just a little weird because, you know, like, I never saw him go to school or do anything, but it was also like mostly online at times, so I never really thought about it. And, you know, I'm getting my master's degree and going to work every day, so I'm gone most of the day, and I come back, and he's like in the same place. But nothing too concerned. He just didn't really seem into anything. You know what I mean? Like, he didn't seem enthusiastic about a lot of things, if anything at all. Which is, I guess, so we lived together for a year without really any major issues. I was just noting the things I'm telling you. And then, let's see. Well, let me backtrack a bit. And during this time, I'm inviting him to come down to Corpus, spend time with the family like I do. Like, we go on trips and go on the boat. You know, we do fun stuff. At least stuff I think is fun, and I wanted to get him involved in it and give him the opportunity. So, you know, sometimes he'd say yes, sometimes he'd say no. It's whatever. I wasn't really trying to force him. I just wanted to get him out of the house, basically. So sometimes he'd say yes, sometimes he'd say no. Never really an issue. Like, if he said no, I wasn't like, why are you saying? I was just be like, okay, cool, whatever. I'm gonna head out then. And then sometimes he'd come down. And yeah, so that went on. And in between then and now, we did a couple vacations. I think he came on. He went snowboarding with us. But things started changing when we moved in with Thomas in February. And by that, I mean, just the things I've noticed have gotten worse, which is like he's not really doing much and doesn't. And, you know, one of the things I noticed when we were living together is that he doesn't want to go out, like I said. But now that we're with Thomas, and Thomas is kind of like me, which is like, okay, we work hard, we want to play hard, that kind of thing. You know, like, we want to go out and do stuff. But he never really wanted to. But the kind of the thing was, it was weird because if Caleb said no, then we kind of just didn't do it, you know? Like, it'd be weird if Thomas and I were like, oh, you want to go do this thing? And then he said no, and then we were like, okay, well, we're going to go do it without you. Which in retrospect...
Why? I totally would have done it without him.
Right, which is in retrospect not weird, but at the time you're like, okay, we're buds, we're not gonna fucking make a whole deal out of it, right? And this again, this is how I felt at the time. This isn't how I feel now. Um, but I don't know if you'd say that also if he was always saying,
Hmm?
but some like he would say yes sometimes, but it felt like we were making, you know,
Yeah.
or he just felt like he had to because we were like if we went to Top Golf Tuesday when it's cheap, it's like whatever. So I started noticing this, and by the way, this whole time, there's an underlying theme that I will backtrack to once I get there, because what this all culminated in one thing that happened last week or 2 weeks ago, and I'll explain how we got there on a separate tangent, basically. But this is all working at the same. Um, so I noticed he's not really doing anything. He's not working. Obviously, he had one job the entire time we've been living together, and that was only for like a month. So he said he's been door dashing to pay for it, and he said he's getting the military benefits from being in school, right? Because if you're in school full time with the military, they give you a stipend if you serve the whole, you know. And I was like, okay, cool. As long as you're paying your way, then we're cool. I don't really need to know where the money comes. But I came home one day and I was like, man, he hasn't done anything. And the whole time I've been asking him how school's going, like how are classes, what like during at this specific point in time where I came home and decided to have a conversation, he had, was in school. He was taking like micro or something according to him. Like I'd ask him, what are you taking? Like micro and history, all of this. And I'm like, are you doing well? He's like, yeah, I'm making a B or whatever. And then I came home and I was like, dude, I can we look at your grades or something for a second? I just want to see how it's going. So, because in my back of my head, I was like, this is weird. He's not. I never see him leaving or working on homework, that stuff. So he's like, all right. He's in the middle of gaming. I just go in like my dad would do to me. He's like, I'm like, show me your fucking grades right now. That's really how it went. And I wasn't like polite. I was like, hey, show me your grades. I want to see what's happening. Or show me your student planner or whatever. And I pull it up, and he's sitting there next to me, and he said, sure, look at it begrudgingly. And I pull it up, and all I see is one semester. So at this point, 3 semesters had passed by. We've been living together for now like a year and a half. All I see is one semester, and it's all Fs. And I go, Caleb, what's going on? He's like, all right, time to be truthful. I failed all my classes in the first semester and have been lying about going to school ever since. And my parents have been paying for my So then, my mind flashes back to the hundreds of times I've talked to him since he moved here about going to school and how every time he just lied to me and to
Mm-hmm.
Thomas and to Thomas's parents when they asked. And then he was like, yeah, things aren't going well. I'm depressed. I don't really want to do anything. I'm not really into stuff. I was like, well, what about snowboarding? You've been talking about snowboarding he's been talking to it in the Discord,
Mm-hmm.
how much he loves snowboarding. He's like, yeah, no, I could go my whole life without snowboarding ever again. Just, I could go my whole life. And he started crying and said he's got no money because he's not working. He can't afford meals and stuff. He's like, some days I go hungry just because I can't afford food. And at the time I was like, wow. And he's like, yeah, I'm living with a mask on basically most of my life, just putting on a show. People, you know, actually being a different person. And he
Real
said
quick,
some, yeah.
how close are you to your mic?
You want me back up or get closer?
Oh, it just keeps cutting out like at the end of your sentence. Like, so if you're not close enough, get closer.
Okay, let me try it here.
Sure. Go ahead.
So yeah, he's just like, I'm depressed. I was lying to you about going to school. I failed out. My parents have been paying for rent. Sometimes I go hungry because I don't have money for. He's crying, talking about the mask thing. And he said some other stuff that I'll never feel appropriate to say
Mm-hmm.
to anyone else. So I'll leave that there. But um, just some concerning stuff. And I was like, all right, well, listen, first, for one thing I'll say is I'm also not equipped correctly, or I'm not well equipped, I should say, to handle a situation like this with up here. You know what I mean? Like
You're not a
Caleb's
psychiatrist.
right, and so I did what I could in my mind, at least. One of the reasons I will say this now is because how it ended up. But I was like, all right, listen. first thing we're gonna do, you're not worried about food anymore. That's a basic fucking necessity. If you need money for food, just ask me. I'll give it to you. Or we can go get food. And then I was like, all right.
Turn your gain up a little bit. It's still cutting out at the end, just a little bit.
I don't know which way's up. Is this up? Is that up?
Let me look.
Better.
So you're gonna turn it to the left. Is gonna be your gain up.
Even if it's on the back of the mic.
Yeah. So like if you're looking at face on the mic, put your hand around the back and then turn it to the left, and it should be going up.
Okay. How about that?
Sure. Let's try that.
Okay.
It might just be a connection issue. I'm not sure. So go ahead.
Okay. So yeah, I was like, all right. First of all, you're not gonna worry about food. Second of all, we're gonna get you on the path to whatever your next step is. Like, he wanted to do cybersecurity. I was like, all right. First of all, you need to go talk to your fucking whatever and get out of probation, because he was in academic probation for failing.
Mm-hmm.
And he was like, yeah, I'll do that. And then I was like, okay, you need to sign up for your next fucking courses or whatever, and you need to find a job. Like, I was just trying to get him back on track. And I was like, if you feel down again, just talk to me. We'll try to, do something. And he was like, all right, sure. Yeah. So then, from then on, for a while, a few months, every day or every other day, I'd be like, all right, what's the update for today? What did you do today? What did you go talk to this guy? Did you talk to that guy? Like a fucking parent should. It was like, okay, so he needs to go to the VA to talk to somebody about his medical benefits or something. I was like, okay, did you go to the VA today? No, they were closed. Okay. Did you go to the VA today? Yes, I did. I talked to this lady. I have an appointment for next Tuesday. Tuesday comes around. I'm like, did you go to your appointment on Tuesday? That kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And another thing I was talking to him about is going to therapy, because the VA also provides therapy, which is something that if we were still friends, I'd ask him about. He, at this point, I don't know if he was telling me the truth about anything, but I was like, hey, you need to go talk to him about therapy. Do they have therapy? Yes, I asked the lady about therapy. I have to do this to get therapy. Did you do this? You get the theme, right?
Yeah.
So after a while, I started getting the feeling that he was like resenting the fact that I was, getting on top of him for stuff.
I'm sure he Loki was.
Right.
Like it's got. I'm sure it's annoying for somebody who like he doesn't want to do those things, even though he knows he needs to do those things. And I'm sure it gets annoying hearing about the things that you need to do that you know you're supposed to do but aren't doing.
Right. I agree. And
welcome Bandit Widgeon to the Neanderthals podcast. This is his first experience here. He said words. All right,
you called him the wrong name. He might have peeled out.
I did. The Storm Widgeon. Excuse me.
There, he's back.
He's back, ladies and gentlemen. Matt.
It's gonna be breaking the fourth wall if you're in your own. If you're in the podcast you listen to.
Hold up.
Wait,
how far into it?
No, you need to hear this for real though.
Wait. How far into it are we?
13 minutes.
What happened to your tires, Gavin?
What tires?
That's not his Jeep, is it?
Oh, that's not your Jeep?
No, that's not his Jeep.
I don't know.
Right, what do I need to hear?
Gavin and Caleb are no longer friends, and Gavin is explaining why.
Oh.
So if you want to sit in and listen, are you cool with that, Gavin?
Yeah, sure.
So.
And Thomas is privy to all this now, and he feels the same way I do. But let's see, where was it? Oh, like he was resenting the fact that I was kind of on him for doing his stuff. And then a big thing happened when we were at the house. So throughout this whole time period, I'm like, hey, you want to go down to Corpus and hang out with the family or whatever? He'd been on some vacations. And at this point, he had lived with me more than 2 years cumulatively. Like, he lived with me back when we were in high school, like his family moved and he lived with me. So he knew my family really well. And Dad, knew him. How
they had a falling out at one point.
Exactly. So this is what happened with the falling out. Dad, I was talking to Dad, and you could tell Caleb wasn't right. And my dad goes, "What's wrong with Caleb?" And well, I don't know if he wants me to tell you this, but he failed out of school. He hasn't been taking classes the whole time. He's been telling us, like, he said he was taking classes to me and to you, and he was lying to both of us. And you know how my dad is, so you could see it on his face. So he literally walked inside, tapped Caleb on the shoulder, and said, "Come outside right now. We're gonna have a talk." And he had a talk with Caleb just like he would have with me if something was wrong, Like he wasn't angry, but you could tell he was
serious.
Yeah, serious. That's a good way to describe it. His disposition changed drastically from 5 minutes ago. And in my experience, having had those conversations with the same exact man for fucking 24 years, they are not easy, especially because most of the time you're in the wrong and you have to swallow your pride and go, I'm fucking wrong. And I could see how somebody that's never been told that in their entire life could take exception with that, which is exactly what happened. Caleb was upset that dad was taking him to task. And I don't know if he actually felt this way or was just trying to lash out, but he basically said he doesn't like my dad. He's never liked my dad. He thinks he's a child. What do you say, a pouty toddler that if he doesn't get his way, he just starts screaming. And yeah, I could tell it really upset dad, but dad just kept going. He's like, I don't care what you think of me. This is the truth. You need to do all this and this and this, right? And Caleb, said whatever he could to get out of the conversation. At the end of it, he was like, yeah, I see what you're saying. But I don't think he actually saw what I was saying. Mm-hmm. Anyway, so they're really upset dad. And after that, I never asked Caleb to come back to the house or even interact with my family or do anything like that. As far as I was concerned, he's fucking insulted my family because of all the stuff they did for him. And another thing is all that, the trips and the going on the boat and all that, he never said thank you,
Mm-hmm.
Never seemed appreciative. And he was always mad that we had to work at the house sometimes. Like at that specific instance, we were shoveling rocks because dad wanted to get these rocks in the yard while they were gone on their anniversary.
I was there.
Right. So he was like, why do we have to? That was another thing when he went off on dad. He's like, yeah, I never liked you. I don't like you. I don't like how you make us do all this fucking work. I was like, in the back of my head, because I wasn't talking. I was just letting him and dad talk. I was watching. In the back of my head, I was like, bro, we just literally went snowboarding in Colorado at a 5-star resort. At least that's how, when I was a kid, like young, and we did shit like that, like, okay, you and I are going to go work in the hot sun for fucking 8 hours today building a deck. You're working on the yard, putting up a fence. And in my mind, I was like, this is fucking dumb. None of my friends have to do, or most of my friends don't have to do shit like this, and then, next fucking day, I'm 20 miles offshore spearfishing. And my dumb ass can't see how those two things are fucking related. But now I do. So anyway, I don't think he saw that. Or at least he didn't see it. So, they had the falling out. I was like, all right, well, he's cut out from the rest of the family. But I guess I'll still, keep it cordial. Try to maintain some semblance of friendship.
Big cool.
Right. And things were still off. And at this time, I had stopped applying pressure because I could tell he was just starting to resent the fact that I was asking him. So I didn't ask him anymore. Mm-hmm. And, I still don't know what's going on. And after the fallout, he got even worse with his, not wanting to do anything, staying inside his room, that kind of stuff. And Thomas and I were kind of pressing him, like, hey, man, you need to do something. You need to get a job at least, right? Like, he hadn't been working the whole time. Yeah, so kind of just weird, And one thing that has been a theme throughout the entire time we've lived together as adults is sometimes, or let's say something. I think before what happened a couple of weeks ago, he hadn't paid rent 3 times.
3 times, you said?
3 times, I think. One time, he just blatantly didn't pay it, and but let me go back a little bit. At our first apartment, the way rent worked is we both had an app, and we both had access to the account, which had a balance, and then we would just pay our halves to it. So it was independent of each other. So I paid my half of the rent. This is the first time he missed rent. I paid my half, didn't even worry about it. And I was like, hey, did you pay your rent? And he might have said yes or no, or he was getting to it or whatever. I just didn't think twice about it. I was just like, okay, whatever. And then we got a letter in the mail saying that we missed rent, and they, it was like our first notice. They weren't actually going to evict us, but they throw that fucking word on. And right. I get the letter, and I open up the letter, and I read it. And I'm like, what the fuck are they talking about? And I look on the account, and we have a fucking balance, and it's half of the rent plus $200 because we've been late, and it's $100 every day after.
Mm-hmm.
And I go to Caleb, and he's like, "Yeah, I didn't have the money for rent. I'm asking my parents for it. Uh, I was gonna pay it as soon as I can." I was like, "Are you fucking?" So I went off. I had like a Greg Sheely moment. I just went off on him. And biggest reason why is because when he moved down here, he started buying furniture and stuff, and he bought a $4,000 piano, $4,000 piano, and he couldn't pay rent. So I went off. I was like, "This is fucking ridiculous." And then his parents ended up giving the money plus the late fee and paying the rent. So nothing, really changed except that he missed rent. And then that happened a couple more times. Not as dramatic as that, if I recall. But he was just a couple days late, and I paid it, and then he paid me back.
Mm-hmm.
And so when we moved into this place with Thomas, how the new rent worked is there's a balance, but only one person, or the balance is only payable in one large sum. So you can't divide it up anymore like we were doing at the old place. So how we were doing it is one person pays it, and the other two give them the money through like Apple Cash or one, or Venmo. And so like the third time it happened is I got Thomas's money, I got my money, I didn't get Caleb's money. Caleb's like, I need a couple weeks to get the money, or he needed a week or something to get the money. And I had enough in my account to pay his third, so I just paid it, and then he gave me the money like a week. Still not acceptable. That's still unacceptable behavior. So combine that with all the things I had told you up to this point. I'm sure there's little details here and there missing, but you kind of get like where the mood was a couple weeks ago, right? Like just unhappy. I get a text from Thomas. Let me give you a little bit of context of where I'm at this point. I had just so I was this past 3 weeks before this week. I was on a fucking tour of med school interviews. I had 3 interviews in 3 weeks, and I had to fly and go out of state. I had just finished a med school interview at Sam Houston. And as you can imagine, a fucking med school interview is a real serious, like real professional, real like it's a real fucking big deal. And I'm talking to some of the guys there, like people I would consider my peers, Like one guy was really cool. I talked to for a long time. He was an Army Ranger. He was 32. He had gotten out and he wanted to be a doctor. And I was talking to him about, me joining the military, doing the Army thing. He's like, "Oh yeah, that's really cool. I don't have to pay for med school anymore because I was in the Army, blah, blah, blah." But this is the caliber of person I'm talking, right? So I had just gotten that done after, this was 2 weeks. So I still had another interview coming. And I am on the way to the ranch. Like I literally just got home the night before and we were going bow hunting on opening day. So I'm on the way to the ranch, and my parents and Kaya are inside the grocery store getting food. And I get a text from Thomas saying, "Hey, can you float me $100 to pay for rent? Caleb doesn't have the money." Or let me pull up the actual fucking messages here. So keep in mind, keep in mind the context of the situation, what I had just gone through, and kind of the mood of our relationship at the time. So let me pull up what Thomas said. Right? Let's see. Yeah, here we go. So let me back up a little bit. The day before, I sent him my cut of the rent. So first message is my cut of the rent. And then it says, "Hey, Caleb doesn't have money for rent. I don't have enough to cover all of it. Can you send me $100 and I'll pay you back when Caleb pays me? If not, I'll just talk to my parents." My response is, now knowing what I know, I don't think Thomas knew at this point that he had missed rent before. I said, "Are you fucking kidding me? How much is he short?" And Thomas says he doesn't have any of it. He says he has $40. And I got that text and I immediately called Thomas. And I was like, "Hey, what's going on?" He's like, "Yeah, I talked to Caleb. He said he doesn't have the rent. Oh, he has his $40. He says his new job, he had just gotten a job at Chick-fil-A. He said he thought he'd get paid by now, which both of us knew is fucking bullshit. You don't get paid a week after you start. And
it's usually bi-weekly.
And then he was like, "Yeah, I don't know." And I was starting to get real mad. And I was like, "All right, listen, I'm gonna give you whatever you need, the $100, or I'm gonna call Caleb right now." And I hang up the phone. I send Thomas the $100, and then I call Caleb. And I think he probably heard this from Caleb's side, or at least
I haven't talked to Caleb yet.
Oh, even since that day.
Yeah, I haven't had
because I thought I talked to you on Snapchat and you said you heard about it. Because this is when I let him have it on the phone.
Oh, yeah. I talked to him about that. Yeah.
Yeah. So I call him and I just fucking lay into it. And I was like, hey, what the fuck? Why don't you have rent? And he gave me that bullshit excuse. Like, oh, I thought that whatever. And I was like, listen, the rent is due today. If you knew you weren't going to have the money, why didn't you have some kind of backup? Like, you only have $40 to your name. Why do you not have some backup? I was like, why didn't you call your dad? Why didn't you do anything except this? Like, and I knew he hadn't contacted me. He contacted Thomas because he knew this was the reaction I would give him. And I was like, do you think this is acceptable behavior? Do you think this is, whatever? And he gave me some bullshit. And I was like, you know what? You're fucking, I think what I said is you're a pathetic loser. You're fucking 25 and you can't pay rent. And I just let him have it. And I was like, yeah. And he was like, I got to go. I'm at work or whatever. All right, Caleb, this is not fucking happening. And I hung up. So that was a pretty big deal. It was a pretty big blow up. So I text Thomas after I hang up with Caleb and I go, hey, let me know what Caleb says when he talks to you. Thomas texts me the next day. This is the text message. 2 things. I talked to Caleb yesterday and he said his dad's going to give him the money for rent if he couldn't pay it. Second thing, I think it might be time to cut your losses and just let Caleb do his own thing. He said that he sees nothing wrong with how things are and says he's the happiest he's been in a while. You can't help somebody who doesn't want to be helped. So I got that message and I was like, well, that's pretty much it. That's got to be it. If he sees nothing, what's going on? And I was like, yeah, Thomas, you're probably right. It might be time just to cut our losses. Yeah, so I got home a couple days later and I was talking to Thomas and Thomas was like, yeah, we had like a 2-hour long conversation. He said some shit. It was like, made me, uncomfortable. Or like, you know how Thomas is. He's not like me. Or I guess I'm not like either of you, which is like he kind of smiled and waved kind of thing where I would have been like, are you fucking crazy? None of this shit you're saying is making sense. Because he was like, yeah, he was saying things. And in the back of my mind, I was like, this makes no sense. Nothing you're saying is rational.
Like what?
Oh, like he doesn't see anything wrong with how it's going, or like he doesn't mind not doing any of those things. Like he doesn't mind doing nothing but play video games all day. He doesn't like working. That's what he told Thomas. Like he didn't have a job. He didn't want a job before this job because he didn't feel like working. I was like, that's not how that fucking works. You don't just whatever. And then Thomas said he said some stuff about me. And I was like, oh, I wonder what he said. So Caleb gets home and I'm like, hey, listen, man, I think you and I are probably done. Like this seems like it's over. I can tell you're not happy with me. I don't think you even like me, to be honest, at this point. He said, all right, sounds good with me. And then he walked out. Well, actually, before that, I said, is there going to be a problem with rent again? Because if there is, I'm going to take you to fucking task, like legal actions. And he's like, well, with this job, I don't foresee an issue with rent. And at the time, he still hadn't paid Thomas back for the rent he missed. And I fucking washed my hands in the situation. So I assume Thomas got the money back, but I don't know. Because Thomas paid me my $100 back.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, yeah, I think we're done. I can tell you don't like me anymore. And he's like, all right, cool, works for me. And he walked upstairs. And then after that, Thomas was like, well, since you're not friends anymore, I might as well tell you what he said. And he said that one of the things was that he complained I didn't like any of his dumb friends on Discord, which I don't.
Like beer?
And right, or other guys, whatever. And then
we like Adam, all right. He's chill.
One thing he said that struck me was that Caleb texted Thomas afterwards and said that he was trying to break up the friendship anyways, and this worked out really well. Which was upsetting to hear. So yeah, I think he basically just didn't like me anymore at that point. And since then, things been, I wouldn't say weird for me, because I don't give a fuck, but he's been, avoiding me, not looking at me, not talking, which is fine.
It's been weird. It's awkward.
I mean, I don't. Well, here's the thing about this whole game is like I don't know what he expected to be the outcome of it, but I could have told you before all this happened that if us two like split and weren't friends anymore, all of y'all were gonna fucking be on my team. I don't know what he thought was gonna happen. Like he's texting Thomas behind my back, like saying stuff like he basically doesn't like me anymore, and Thomas is telling me like this kid's fucking psycho. And come to find out, the Jandrews were having issues with him too, and basically the only reason Thomas moved in with us is because I was here. Like he said, his parents only let him because I was with him. So since that thing, I've been over at the Jandrews a few times. Thomas and I are making plans to go to Austin. We're going out. Like now that we don't give a shit what happens to him,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't know. It's been a wild turn of events, but since that day, I have rarely seen him. He hasn't talked to me, haven't looked at me, and he's been in his room playing video games 99%. Other than when he's not working at Chick-fil-A, I should say.
What issues did Thomas's family have with him?
Well, he seemed off. He didn't seem mentally stable. He had no drive or goals, or didn't seem like he really wanted to do anything. Which he wasn't working. He wasn't in school because by that time everyone knew he was lying about being in school. And yeah, they were just like, if Caleb wasn't our friend, your parents would probably have issues with you moving in with somebody like that, right? So, yeah, and I talked to Dad about it. Dad was real upset. He was real hurt when Caleb said he was a fucking kid. He didn't like him and never has. And he was like, "Well, yeah, I mean, friends come and go, man, and you can't help somebody that doesn't want to be helped," which is just what Thomas said. Which is why what Thomas said, like, really, because that wasn't the first time I'd heard that.
Mm-hmm.
So where we stand right now is Thomas and I are gonna keep being friends, keep doing stuff. I'm just gonna make it till February when our lease is up. Thomas is gonna move back home before he moves on to his next job, which is probably gonna come up next year, and I'm gonna move back home and just ride out the last couple months before I go to med school. And I haven't even asked him what he's gonna do after. I'm not gonna I don't give a shit. I don't care at this point. But yeah, that's where we stand. And obviously some of the stuff that happened since he's left the Discord. He blocked me on Instagram, unfriended me on Snapchat. So yeah, it's just that's how it is right now. And I mean, I'd be interested to see what you think of the situation. But one of the things that I told Thomas was I'm just worried because I was upset. I'm not as upset now because time has passed. But at first I was real upset. And, I told Thomas my number one fear is that I'm in the wrong. And he said from his point of view I was in the right. There's just not much I could do. Like the reason Thomas wasn't super upset is because he wasn't like actively engaged like I was in Caleb.
Mm-hmm.
I would bet it's similar to the situation you and Caleb have or had. It's just friends, friendly, but not like close friends, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like you don't know actively like detailed. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And when this whole thing happened, Thomas was like, "Yeah, I mean, I'll still talk to him, and probably in a couple of years it'll just drift off because we're not actively in communication." But I could see how you just want to go scorched earth, which is what I did, and I think that's probably best. And to be honest, from every indication, Caleb previously didn't care. I mean, this whole charade now about like blocking me and not talking him kind of seems like he cares, but originally he didn't really care. So anyway, this is kind of where
he never cared.
I don't know. It's hard to say for sure, to be honest. Like,
there's no way.
I can't tell. How about this? Let me back it up. When I confronted him about the grades thing, Jake, it was like a scene in a movie where the guy's like face just stops faking it, like what's the word? Not a psychopath, but like a schizophrenic or like a dual personality. It was like the fucking charade dropped, and he was actually who he was. Like I'm telling you, it was that drastic of a change in his demeanor and the way he talked. And like I'm telling you, it's not unlikely that he never cared.
No, he would not have been friends with you throughout all of high school if he never cared.
Well, there's a little bit.
He wouldn't have moved in with you if he never cared.
I don't know. It's hard to say, but regardless, even if he did or not, it doesn't change the fact that this is where we're at now.
Sure.
But yeah, that's what happened. You got any questions, concerns, comments? Anything you want to add?
No, I mean, I still want to talk to Caleb about it, just see what
I
he
don't
has
think-
to say. But
Sure. I mean,
not that I
just-
disbelieve anything you're saying. I'm curious what he has to say about it.
yeah, as more time passes, the more I see how unreasonable it was to expect. Not unreasonable. How? What's the best way to say this? Like, he's just so delusioned. I think, like, anything he says to you may or may not be the truth, but even if it is, it's going to be from a warped perspective. You know?
Mm-hmm.
Because for me, like, the outcome of this situation is that Caleb's going to work at Chick-fil-A and live by himself. Like, I'm still going to med school. I got my master's degree. I'm still hanging out with Thomas. I still talk to you. I still go hunting and fishing and all that. Like, it hasn't really changed my, trajectory, I guess.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's just where we're at now, which is a real shame. Like, fucking 10 years of friendship to go down like this. But yeah, I think if you talk to him, you'll see what I'm talking about. Maybe not. Maybe you won't. And the problem is nobody will understand how I feel exactly, just because no one was in the situation I was. Not
Sure.
Tom. And Thomas even sees it like I do. And he wasn't even in the same situation I was. But I listen. Like, he's not going to talk to me probably ever again, and I find it unlikely he'll talk to any of y'all for the next. He might talk to you like in the immediate future, but a couple years down the road, I doubt it.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that's what happened. It's like a soap opera.
A soap opera.
Kind of ridiculous.
Matt, are you still there?
He's gone. He
Oh, he's here. All right. Now on to some actually serious matters. So, give me the details of this deer hunt.
What do you want to know?
Look, I want to know all about this spot you got picked out for Gavin. You've been putting in some work trying to get Gavin a good spot. Let's hear about it.
Yeah, I found some spots.
Yeah, let me hear about them.
Well, I got one. It's probably the easiest to get to. That's the one I marked out for you.
Sweet.
And
you got marked on like Onyx?
No, I ain't. I give it to him when he shows up.
Oh,
wow!
$100
Secret.
when he shows up.
Yeah, $2,000, please. Has anybody killed anything out there yet?
I don't know. I've been gone all weekend. I literally just got back.
What were you doing?
I was up in Bastrop doing fire weather training.
See, I just never know what's up with you. You could be dead, and I'd never know.
Man, I tell you what, I'm a borderline meteorologist now.
What? How do those two things correlate? I don't understand.
Well, he needs to know what the weather's going to be like.
I was taking fire weather class, so now I'm like a borderline meteorologist.
You could go up on the green screen and start pointing at places.
Yeah.
All right, so
they don't know what they talking about anyways.
So you got this first spot, easiest to get to. Tell me about it.
Yeah, it's probably about a quarter-mile walk in, and so
that's not bad at all.
And so it's nice, sandy. I disked the whole line. It's nice and sandy. I packed it down with the tracks on the tractor,
Man,
so you
it's
won't be sinking in
custom
the
for
sand
Gavin.
too bad.
Custom done.
I bet $20 somebody fucking found that spot already.
No, Matt's marked it for you.
Yeah, but who respects the tape?
I respected the tape.
Yeah, I respect the tape.
We both respected it. Look, we just got to assume that other people are going to respect the tape.
Well, the biggest thing is it's a different color, right, Matt?
Well, I can't say if this is going on the internet.
Okay.
All right.
But
he said, "Well, I actually tore down everybody else's tape."
Some old guy came in, put up some tape, and I just ripped it off.
No.
I didn't do that. Don't worry.
So it's a pretty good spot.
Internet. So okay. Anyways, so I flagged. Are you hunting out of a blind, or are you going to be hunting out of a tree, or like in a bush?
Yeah, ground blind, pop-up blind.
Probably. Okay, so what I did is I flagged this tree. And out in front of that tree, well, I should say to the right of that tree is a pond. And so I needed a place to turn around so I didn't go into the pond. And so right out in front of the tree, I was using it as a turnaround. And that turned into maybe like 35, 40 yards of shooting lane.
Ooh,
Prime habitat shooting lane.
nice.
So you got the whole break going down, which is nice disc sand. And then you got like a circle out in front of you that's like maybe 40 yards from the tree, 35, 40.
God damn.
And so every morning, that's where I was parking the tractor every day, was on that line. So every morning I'd come back, I'd run up the line, see what tracks they was, and then run over them with the tractor so they'd be gone. And so every day I'd go out there and check for new tracks. And every single day, brand new deer tracks, pig tracks, coyote tracks. Every day.
Damn, son. Sounds like a primo spot.
Now, the second spot, I'm not going to lie, there's more deer.
Oh,
But it's about a mile walk.
that's right.
But it's on nice sugar sand. So it's about a mile walk, but I tell you what, I disked this line, I come back the next morning, rode over it, man, they must have been 10, 15 tracks running all in the same spot. Different
one
tracks.
night.
Yeah.
Wow.
It was a highway, bud. And then I disked over it, come back in the afternoon, more tracks. In the course of probably 3-4 hours. In the
Shit.
afternoon. Like 1 o'clock to 3 o'clock, somewhere in there.
Damn, these sound like great spots.
Yeah. So it's promising.
I think we need to hire this kid Jake as our land manager.
Oh, hey, look, I've been saying it for years.
This he might be onto something here.
Land manager, meteorologist, you name it.
Yeah.
So here's the real question, Gavin.
Yeah.
If a doe walks by, first thing you
Yep.
see is a doe. You're shooting it?
Yep.
Shoot it.
Dead doe. Dead doe. He's
Yep.
going to blow that spot out with a doe and go to the next spot and blow it out with a buck.
Attaboy.
Shit, that's not a bad plan.
All right. Here's what happens. Okay. You shoot a doe at the first one. You see a doe at the second one. Are you shooting that doe?
No.
All right. So it's not just
What
pure
am I gonna do
bloodlust.
with two? Yeah. What am I gonna do with two? I mean,
Eat
if I
'em!
already shoot,
Eat
if
'em!
I shoot, no. But listen, what the practicality here is what you're missing. Like, I'm gonna have a fucking cooler. I'm gonna have to drive all the way back to Corpus. Like, if I have
Look,
a deer already,
it's what is it? What is it? Like an hour and a half?
Yeah.
yeah,
Hour and a half.
yeah.
You could do that.
Maybe like an
I mean,
hour.
yeah, I could, but I wouldn't do it for two does.
Hey, I ain't gonna lie, I probably would.
Nah, I think. Plus, I got to hunt the other spot too, or not the other spot. I can hunt at the ranch too. Like, I'm more than likely to have a shot at a doe. I didn't shoot a doe last year with a gun because I didn't want to shoot a doe. But,
Look, all I'm saying, you need to kill a deer with a bow. That's all I'm saying.
yeah, I agree. I'm not arguing with you. This is assuming a lot, which is I kill a deer to start with, and then what am I going to do now with all this deer?
This is assuming you get out there, you survive the mosquitoes, you're not caught with your pants down, and you make a good shot on a deer.
Well, I only had one of those two problems last year, so pretty. Are the mosquitoes bad right now, or what?
In spots, but I don't think where you'll be hunting it'll be particularly bad.
It's not flooded like it was last year.
Oh no, it's dry most all the way across.
Yeah, see? Fucking problem number 1, fixed. Number 2, wasn't my problem. Done. Easy.
So
I just worry about fucking people taping up near those spots, That's the biggest problem we ran into last year. Was just like, oh, what do you know? The whole fucking refuge is taped up.
the thing about it is though, if you hunt the second weekend, there's gonna be a lot less people.
A lot less people.
And
Well,
I'll tell
that's-
you what,
I said that like I know, but it would make sense.
there's gonna be less people. I promise.
Well,
And I'll
sounds
tell
like
you
a
what I'll
plan
do
to me.
tomorrow.
Hmm.
Tomorrow when I drive past the check-in and check-out or whatever, I'll check the logs and I'll tell you how good the success rate's been this year.
Like, you need like give Matt a tip or something. God dang, this boy putting in work for you.
You want me to give him the tip? That's weird.
A tip?
I don't need no tip.
Tip?
Tip? Give him a tip?
Yeah, here's the tip. You have job security when we buy a ranch until you die, or I die. Probably when I die.
Copy that.
Hey, I've already told him he can come out and just live for free as long as he does work.
Yeah, fuck, dude, I'll pay him. I'll give him more than just living for free. I'll pay you.
Now we cooking.
Shit, like, because I'm planning on having some acreage. You know what I mean? Acreage, and that's gonna need to be managed.
What was the number we wanted? Was it?
I think it was 500.
It was 500, right? 250 each, right?
Yeah.
All right. That's what I thought.
It's still the plan, but my dad's, much closer to realizing that goal than I am, right? Because he wants to buy 200, and they're talking about doing it next year, like February-ish.
Mm-hmm.
He's looking in the hill country?
Yeah. Rock Springs, where he wants to buy it.
That's 200 acres in the hill country?
Yep.
A lot of deer out there.
Which, if I can buy land...
What does that cost? That's got to be over $1 million.
It's expensive.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know the actual figures, but he said 200 acres in the hill country.
I feel like in the hill country is like prime real estate right now.
It is, dude. Listen, man. That's why I say he's closer to realizing that goal than I am.
Look,
they have money. You know what I'm saying? I don't have shit.
This just means you need to change his mind to somewhere else that you could get 200 acres or more, 300 acres for that same amount of money down on the coast, baby.
But think about it this
way.
way.
Let me explain this to both of
listen,
y'all.
I know.
I've
heard it all.
No say.
Listen, I know.
I'm about to back your father and you in this.
Plus, I ain't really upset with having Hill Country's nice.
I was just fixing to say, what's wrong with diversity?
Like shit. One of the places he's been sending me ranches and shit, and one of the places had Axis, had fucking whitetails, obviously, had Aoudad. Fucking looks like a dream. Had hogs and stuff, and it's the hill country. Like, honestly, I ain't mad about it. I'm so not mad about it that I'm considering, like, if he buys a place, like, going, hey, listen, tell the realtor if one of the adjacent properties ever goes up for sale, you fucking call me.
You say, Dad, listen, I know a great land manager.
Well, I don't know if he wants to manage 200 acres. That's not. I don't know if that's. Yeah.
Yeah.
But you want to. Well, okay. Listen. How about this? I won't be able to pay him by then because that'll be too early.
No. Your dad can pay him. He's
I
a
ain't
billionaire.
Leave my job anytime soon.
Dad's not. Oh, okay. Well, first thing we have to do is convince him that he doesn't want his job anymore.
Yeah.
And then, what would it take to convince you to be our landman?
50
money wouldn't hurt.
80,000 a year.
Oh.
You say hell no?
No, I said ho.
Yeah, that should be like.
Wait, we're paying him $80K?
Yeah.
Can I get this in writing?
Look, Matt's
I need to have a side discussion about the finances of this. Okay, how about this? If you go to get your fucking degree in wildlife management or whatever, I'll pay you $80,000.
He don't need no degree. He's got job experience.
You really want me to go?
That's better than any damn bachelor's or master's degree.
You want me to go in there and learn about algebra while I could be learning about the wildlife in real life?
You probably have to take fucking like algebra 1.
No, you have to take algebra 1, algebra 2. Look, listen, I know.
I didn't have to take fucking algebra 2.
You have to take like 3 different math classes. You have to take 2 chemistries, bunch of different biologies. It's not fun.
Yeah, I'm
quite unfun.
Are you explaining how college works to me?
I'm explaining how like the wildlife program works to you.
Oh. Yeah, well, I think that's fucking every degree has to take a bunch of bullshit.
Oh yeah, for sure.
First couple of years. Okay, how about this? We'll talk about the pay when we get a little closer. All right.
Look,
80.
All right, 75.
Okay, like he's gonna live on the ranch full time. Doesn't have to pay for housing.
Yeah.
And 80.
Look, he's doing a lot of hard work.
Okay, hold on. First of all, let's determine what okay, let's
Land
say
management.
how many acres are we talking about? Are we talking about
That's
our dream
big.
like 500 acres?
No. We're talking about your dad's 200 acres right now.
Okay,
80
well
Jake.
that's just not happening, bro. Let's move past that. That's not happening. Fucking, I won't be surprised if Dad just moves out there and says "fuck the people."
Hey, look. Hey, okay. Oh,
Because my
if
goal is
it's
by the
our
time
land, I'm not paying Matt. He's just living out there for free. All right.
Wait, how many?
Like
How many parcels of land
we's
do
like
you have?
kin, so you know that's how that works. Parcels of
Okay.
land.
Wait, hold on. I think I need to clarify a position,
Yeah.
which is this: I am both wanting to achieve my goal of going halvesies with you on a ranch and expanding the hill country ranch at the same time. Those are two goals I have. Now, what I would really like is for those two goals to overlap.
Whoa.
Now, that also means
We're gonna be like King Ranch out here.
our total acreage is thus expanded. Do you see what I'm saying here?
Oh yeah.
So if let's just say, let's just do 200 for easy math, right? So Dad already has 200, and a piece comes up adjacent that's 400, right? You and I go halvesies on it.
Yeah.
Now we don't just have 400, we have 600.
Yeah.
We increased our total land by 33% because of the position.
Oof. This just means we need to pay Matt more. Holy crap. 160,000.
Fucking getting paid more than us, like manage our land.
All right, go ahead.
Gonna have to. He's got a whole like 401k and like fucking
man.
benefits and shit. Like
he's got like assistants.
Yeah,
They get him
broke
he gets his
broke as fuck paying his mortgage payments, and he's like banking 160k.
And gets his mocha frap in the morning from his assistant.
And his brand new like 2029
King
fucking
Ranch.
F250 like King Ranch edition. Yeah.
Anyways,
Yeah, no, that's not happening.
Continue.
I forgot what I was talking about. 600 acres. Yeah. Anyway, listen.
600
my
acres.
end goal is to have over 1,000 acres.
Wow,
That
that's
is
a lot
my
of acres.
end goal. End goal. Which that probably actually needs a land manager.
That definitely needs a land manager.
Let me ask you.
Is that
Is
feasible?
that first 600 in the hill country?
According to this plan right now, yes, it is.
Well, listen, these are fake numbers also. But in order to increase our total available land, because as soon as we buy land adjacent or near Dad's land, we all have access to all of it. There's no like, oh, you can't hunt these 200, but you can hunt this 400. Like all of us can hunt all of it. Is my point. So if we do that, then we expand our total number. So it's not just what you and I can buy; it's what you and I can buy plus what Dad's already bought, and your parents if you want to do something like that. We can make this game bigger than just us two, and thus increase our total land. Because listen, if we're just us, like okay, so let's say it's my dad, my parents buy something, I buy something, you buy something, your parents buy something, right? Okay, so how many hunters are we actually hunting? My dad, me, kid if I have a fucking kid, you, your kid, Matt's kid, your dad. Like we're talking like less than 10 people here for hundreds and hundreds of acres.
600.
Like, well, 600 in this specific instance, right?
Yeah.
That's not a whole lot of people for that much acreage.
No, especially if we're doing, if we're managing, we'll talk deer right now because that's what y'all care about most, especially if we're managing deer, That's
well, we could
that's
do
no big deal
ponds,
at
we
all.
could do any of that shit.
No,
But
I mean, I'm keeping it basic,
right. Just for the example.
Yeah.
So what I'm saying is if we do this, it's just open to all of us. Like we don't care. Okay, I'm going to go set up a blind on that 30 acres. Well, whose acreage is that technically deeded to? It might not be you. It might not be me. It might not be Dad. It might not be whoever. But who gives a fuck? Like, okay, we're going to go set up our blind over here.
We're all
That's
part of the same management program.
Right. That's the better way to say it. Part of a single management program, which means none of us are arguing about like what year of deer we can shoot, what the spread is, what we can and can't shoot, like
That's right.
that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I tell y'all what to shoot.
That's right.
You listen to me.
Fuck. Matt comes. He gives us a debrief like it's a fucking military. Like he's like,
Hey,
"Hey,
look,
listen,
no, look, for
there's
real.
8 deers in this spot. Only one of them's a shooter.
Hey, no, look.
No one shoot the other deer."
Look, kind of for real. He's like, hey, look, this is how many quote unquote shooter bucks we got out there. These are kind of what we're looking for. This is what the population status looks like. Hey.
Oh yeah, I'm not even. That's not even a joke.
No, yeah, I'm
If I had a
serious.
land, like, okay, let's be real.
I expect
If
like a
we're
full
getting this
PowerPoint
ranch,
presentation from Matt.
if we're getting this ranch, I'm gonna have to work my ass off, which means I'm not gonna have all this time to fucking be at the ranch scouting shit out. I'm gonna come home. I'm gonna come to the ranch and be like, all right, Matt, tell me where to sit. Tell me what deer I'm fucking shooting. Let's get it. Like, no, yeah, wouldn't that be insane if we just had like 600 acres? We had 20 game cameras, and Matt comes in like, all right, these are the pictures. This is where we're seeing this deer. This is where we're seeing that deer. He's filling up the feeders, doing all that shit.
Is this something
Living
you're
in the woods,
comfortable doing, Matt?
like he really wants to. He wants to live in the woods. Don't we all know this?
Do you want to live in the woods, Matt? Or do you want to live
Depends
on the
where
marsh?
the ranch is. Depends on where the ranch is.
You want to live on the ranch?
Depends on where the ranch is.
Where's the ranch have to be?
Let's say it's in the hill country. Does that work for you?
The entire thing.
As of right now, all 600 acres in the hill country, yes.
Look, I know I probably don't have the most say in this, but here's my say.
We're just making plans for fucking Matt without his. Okay, go.
I'd say cool hill country land, but I also say cool land on the coast.
I dig it.
I think you ought to diversify.
Okay, well let me.
Look, you're
let
right.
Let me ask both of you this question, which is, would you rather have the maximum number of acreage in the hill country, or half the amount of acreage in the hill country and half of it on the coast?
Half on hill, half on coast.
So if in our example it'd be 600, right?
Yeah.
Let's just say 300, 300.
Yeah.
You'd rather do that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I don't necessarily disagree with that.
Because I mean, you're getting a whole lot of value there.
See, I think the game changes when we start changing the numbers. Like 300 and 300, I go, wow, that's a fucking huge. Those are huge 2 ranches. Like, I don't really care.
That's a good
So
choice.
let's play the game of like, okay, less than 100, less than 100. Like,
No.
Would you rather get, 40 acres and then 40 acres? Like, oh, wow, this kind of sucks. Both of our ranches are small.
Listen, because
versus 180 or something.
That's like not big enough to do meaningful management on. Not that 300 acres is big enough to really do meaningful management, but you can do some selective like management on 300 acres, stuff like that.
That's another thing, because if we do the 600 in one place, that's like meaningful management.
Yeah, you got some
We
pretty.
I'll tell you something else.
It's pretty damn close.
Let's
That
hear it.
might sway you to building on the coast.
Mm-hmm.
Is you can partner up with people like, well, this might work in the hill country too, but you can partner up with DU and get conservation easements to build duck ponds and habitat for whooping cranes, and they'll pay you back probably half the money you
Big
paid for the
time.
land.
Well, that's the fucking plan anyways. Do that no matter where we go.
Mm-hmm.
Because one of the benefits of our mentality is we won't rely on these places to supply income. These are just for fun.
Yeah.
Like, in my mind, and I think we're all in the same mindset here, like, I want to foster the natural flora and fauna of these regions, except for maybe some of these exotics, and manage for our natural resources, including the wildlife, but also, the natural trees and grasses and that kind of stuff. And not just hunting game too, just all of the, naturally found animals there. Except, maybe like the axis or dogs.
So let's say you do get some land in the hill country. What is your what's the word I'm looking for? How do you feel about invasive species or non-native species? Maybe a better term.
So
like you mentioned, axis.
Right. The ones I want to hunt are okay.
So what about
All
pigs?
the other, yeah, they can stay.
Oh no.
But we're gonna hunt the shit out of them too, so they're not gonna be like that crazy.
So you want to keep them in low population numbers,
right?
Manage them. Getting killed.
Manage them.
What'd you say, Matt?
Because
I said they'll be getting killed.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Look,
you know what I mean?
Look.
And I don't have all the fine minutiae outlined, mostly because I just don't have the information or the knowledge. You two probably get more than I do about how to exactly accomplish those goals.
Kill pigs?
No, the fucking keeping the natural. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, okay.
Managing our land the way we want to.
Well,
I don't know the fine details of doing that.
A lot of work.
Okay.
A lot of heavy equipment.
Anyways, point being, if we're not reliant on this for income, then we don't have to apply pressure to it. Like we don't need to make it a lease. We don't need to open it up to hunters. We don't need to
On
raise
that note,
cattle.
how do we
What?
feel about? I mean, you just mentioned cattle. I hadn't thought about that recently, but I think it'd be an okay idea to have cattle on there. B, selling
Livestock
hunts every once in a
exemptions.
while.
Say it again.
Selling hunts every once in a while, like 3 hunts a year or something like that.
Why are we selling hunts?
Just for a little extra income, just because we can, because we're not going to kill all the deer out there anyways, and it can be part of the management strategy.
Okay, let me say this. I am cool with that if we add a qualifier, which is only close friends or family. Not like immediate family, obviously. I mean, you don't want to charge family.
Yeah, I was
It
going to
has to be
say,
people-
I can't charge
Right,
family.
right. How about just people we're cool with? Like, I don't want to just put
I
an
could-
ad on Craigslist and say, like, sell a
I
hunt.
couldn't even like Thomas. I couldn't sell a hunt to Thomas. It'd have to be like
No, I'm
a
saying like,
stranger.
okay, you got a friend at work who likes to go hunt. Hey, you give me $500, you can come hunt this fucking deer, something like that.
Even then, man, I'd be like, you want to come out and shoot a doe? I'd be cool with that.
I don't want strangers hunting on our land.
Ever?
No.
Interesting. Even if they're paying.
Yeah.
How come?
I just don't.
You don't
First
like
of
the
all, you
idea of
never
it?
know with. I don't like the idea. You never know with people, especially
That's fine.
especially in Texas. Shit gets just weird. Fucking, it's because there's not that many places to hunt. You know, people come back after the fucking hunt's already done. Hunt, like we can't be everywhere at once. You know,
Look, Matt's there all the time.
weird shit happens.
Matt-
he's
Matt
gonna
kill
also be
them.
our. He's gonna.
He's gonna have thermal scopes.
Oh man! All right. Well, fucking. If Matt's out there as fucking Terminator, then I guess I'm cool with it.
Look, have you seen Matt on Terminator mode? He'll bite your toes off.
What's giving you this idea? Is it like the Meat Eater show where like they go on hunts at these fucking ranches?
No. I just think it's a decent way to get a little extra passive income. I mean, we wouldn't have to do anything. Matt would, I assume.
How about this,
Matt would
son?
host it all. What's up?
That would help you pay my paycheck.
No, because you're out there for free. Remember? Well, not for free. You know, you doing all the work, and you can kill as much wild game as you like, as long as it fits into the
Who's
plan.
paying my
Matt.
grocery bill?
Matt, would you like?
Look,
to
you
be
ain't
a
got no
guide?
groceries.
You ain't got no groceries.
Oh, there we go. Matt's a guide.
Well, this is what I'm thinking. I'm okay with not having my hands in this, like this aspect of it, if
Uh-huh.
we did this, as long as it's handled.
Yeah.
Like if I don't have to interject and it never ruins my or my family's or your family's experience, then I'm cool with it. I'm also cool with if we do this, and whoever the land manager is, if it's Matt and they guide hunts, I'm cool with them just taking the fucking paycheck.
I was gonna say Matt gets 50% of the paycheck.
Yeah, sure. But I don't even need any of it, honestly. I just give it all to fucking Matt. But sure. He could cut us a percentage
All right,
of the
here.
check.
50% goes to Matt. The other 50% goes into the land.
That works for me.
Matt, how
So
you
we-
feel about
so-
this agreement?
That's
Yeah.
even a bet. That's even.
What?
I mean, I ain't the financial managers of y'all, but I kind of like that because you think about it, tractors need replacement or repairs.
Oh, hey, look, any repairs or anything like that vehicles need, I think that's
Paid for
on
by
us.
the land.
Yeah.
How about
Ooh,
like
that goes
That's what
into
I'm
the
saying.
land fund. Yeah, I like that.
I was about
like
to say
that.
we just have a big pot of money that we put from the percentages of that or wherever we would input money into the land, we just put it in one pot of money, and then as things are needed to be done, you just pull from that pot,
I like that.
and then he could take his cut of the guided hunts,
I like
and then
that.
basically all we gotta do is pay taxes, which probably get down real low with the exemptions.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll tell you a way you can make a lot of money, and this might take like 30 acres down on the river, the Rio Grande. You plant you some sunflowers.
Dove
You
hunts.
charge $100 a head.
Oh,
How
13
many-
guys, 20 guys out there.
You can fit how many people on 30 acres?
Oh, a lot. Dove hunting. Oh,
Well, this
my
is okay.
gosh.
So this is getting into some details that I would like to also
Like
discuss.
at this point, we're kind of daydreaming, but go ahead.
Well, obviously, if we had a large acreage, we could talk about managing it for different things. Like, okay, we want to have dove hunts in this area. We think this is a primo spot. How would we, prepare this? Or what do we need to do to get this done? Like, we want to do a duck pond here. We want to do some kind of management for fucking deer. Like, I don't know, plant some trees, fucking acorns. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, cut some trails here, put a pond here, do this there. Like, kind of manage it the way we want it while also keeping it sustainable.
Yeah.
All I'm saying is a good way to get a lot of money into that land fund is to plant sunflowers.
Well, them sunflowers, they draw them
in.
Then you'd have a lot of money for your repairs. I don't know, farm trucks, whatever you need. House repairs if you got a house on the land.
Oh, that's a whole nother thing we got to talk about.
Helicopter for hog hunting. No, I'm just kidding.
Talking about making some money.
Oh my god.
Oh shit, dude, that would. Well, you could do is just have an arrangement with one of those companies, like one of those outfitters that already has a helicopter.
Yeah, that. Like, yes, but that's one of those things that could be like, they shot some of my fucking axis deer, yada yada yada.
Yeah, I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
I was already on the fence about just letting people own it at all, but yeah, I don't want to do that. Anyway, fucking house, big old house. I want to do that.
A big house.
Okay, so let me ask you this. Let's just assume we have like the big 600 acres place, which means we only have one place for now. Would you rather have separate houses or one big house?
I feel like one large house, nothing super fancy, but big enough for all of us, right in the middle, would be prime.
No.
Not for you, Matt. You get your own. You get your own.
Why would you want your house in the middle?
Yeah, I mean, okay. Sorry. I don't mean like the dead center of the land, but like up at near the front gate or near the back gate, but like in the middle of the land. And it doesn't have to be in the middle, but that's just what I'm envisioning right now. Wherever the best place to put a house is the best place to put the house. But
yeah, right. But I like the one big house for sure. You know what would be cool is like
Matt
the
gets
one
his own
big
house though.
Yeah, obviously. And then we have like smaller, like tiny houses for the hunters, like the people that come through for the guided hunts.
They can stay in a trailer.
No, that'd be fucking because we could have the
Matt's bunk bed,
big ass house, and then a fucking barn shed for our toys and stuff, and then we've got like the cleaning room. So that room we always talk about doing for cleaning deer and processing and stuff,
like a freezer room.
Yeah, walk-in freezer. And then like an outdoor grill section.
Yeah. Oh yeah,
that'd be awesome.
Oh yeah, big old smoker.
Smokers, a fire pit out there just hanging out.
A pond, real close.
Oof.
Bass fishing pond.
Bass pond, yeah.
That would be awesome.
Because I promise, your wife ain't gonna want a duck pond close to the house.
She got earplugs.
Well, yeah, that's why we can't have the house in the fucking middle. Just shots going off.
I do not mean the middle, okay?
Nah, because the chicks are probably just going to hang out the house anyways. Which is why the house has got to be like primo.
If they even come.
Not little Isabella.
Oh no.
Well, bring in the whole
she coming with us.
Oh, she's gonna slam like everybody else. Kidding me?
That's my co-land manager right there.
Bro, we're putting a rifle in her hand. She's shooting hogs at night.
Out in the summer, she's going to live with you.
That's right.
Yes, sir. All right.
Bro, that'd be awesome. Like a summer fucking camp. Just send them out there with Matt and the range.
Can you believe how spoiled you'd be?
Yeah,
it's almost just like not fair.
Keep them grounded. Keep them grounded somehow.
like she can get.
She has to go work.
Hard work.
Yeah.
Like Matt's gonna be in the tractor doing stuff, and she's got a shovel.
No, she'll be sitting in that buddy seat.
What?
The buddy seat. A lot of tractors got a little buddy seat.
Give her a shovel.
No.
Give her to Matt. Like, all right, teach her hard work because I just spoil her all the fucking time.
No. She'll be sitting in the buddy seat.
I'll have to get rid of Gavin.
And when she gets enough legs on her, she's gonna be able to drive the tractor. Push
by
the
then
clutch in and everything.
I've lost all my willpower.
Ugh.
Just fucking, all right, what? Cookies? Fine.
Here's a donut.
Plus, when you're hunting, that's a whole, everything goes when you're hunting, all right? You want 8 fucking cupcakes? Right on, dude. We're at hunting camp. We're at deer camp, you know?
Mm-hmm.
We're at the ranch. Do what you want to do. Shooting off, dude, imagine 4th of July, we're out there fucking smoking meat, shooting off fireworks, riding the 4-wheelers and stuff.
Matt's out there with a fire truck putting out all our fires.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say, Isabel's gonna be about 6 years old running around with that drip torch.
Just starting mass, no, we needed the controlled burn that year, so we just let the kids go with fucking fireworks and
That's right.
start setting shit on fire. That's another thing Matt can do. He can be in charge of our controlled burns.
Oh yeah.
Oh, I promise.
That's part of the gig.
It's part of being a landman.
I gotta ask, and this is a question I've wondered: who's gonna be the mechanic?
Well, that's you too.
yeah, you're all in one for 80 grand. Shit.
Oh, son, I need 160 then.
Oh no. I'm sorry, I mentioned that.
We can't afford to hire 2 people. We're poor as fuck. By this point, we got like millions of dollars in land now.
Hey, as far as mechanicing goes, if you can't fix it, you gotta take it to somebody, and that comes out of the land management fund.
The land fund.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's fair.
I hear that.
Shit, I'm gonna have a dream about this tonight. This sounds awesome.
It does sound awesome.
Fucking...
All right, boys. We've been dreaming enough. This is
This has been a real weird podcast. You got real serious, and now it's all like fucking dreams.
Like you gotta end it light. You know what I'm saying?
Well, hopefully one day this will come true, and our kids will be listening to the podcast at the fucking ranch. Like, wow, he did it.
Yeah.
Well,
no, we need to put a podcast studio at the ranch. We need to film the podcast. No, we need a bar and podcast studio at the ranch house.
You think we'll still be doing this? We'll
Shiner
still be
on
doing
tap.
podcasts?
There might be like a break in between now and then, but by then we'll be fucking bozos that just want to hunt all the time. So we'll be at the ranch. Might as well do a podcast.
You think that's that? I don't know.
Before
I'm trying to foreshadow. Like, you're cock blocking me here. Trying to say you don't want to do it anymore?
Can I get a proper introduction?
Oh, this is Matt, Jake's brother.
This is Matt.
That's it.
My younger brother, who is taller than me. He has long blonde hair, blue eyes, usually has a scruffy kind of beard going on. Matt, tell him who you work for.
As of right now, October 10th, 2022, I work for the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service at Aransas National Wildlife Refuge. I'm part of the fire management program. And that's what I do today. By the time you see this, I might be doing something else. Who knows?
Is this going on to my? Was that a message to my kids? Our kids?
Yeah.
Okay.
You guys are having 2 kids together? That's weird.
No, me and you.
No, I can't believe now. Like, we've been doing this podcast for a hot second now, and we kind of.
And I have a kid now.
You have a fucking kid coming.
We started this before the conception of my child to make it a reality, so that my child could come listen to this someday.
That's wild.
I'll have a child now. Anyways, the music is playing.
All right.
It is getting loud. Goodbye.